All right, guys. So this week we have some week 6 action. We got the huge sack podcast with me, Nugget Hole, and Rocketman. Also Luke. Same as last week. Same as all the other weeks. We're gonna discuss all the week 6 action and kind of talk about each game and go dive into some stats. I don't know, Luke. What did you think about this week in general?
Couple upsets. Overall, I mean, I wasn't too surprised with
Right.
it.
Yep.
Something overall with the NFL, though, so there has been a lot of overtime games
Yep.
in these first 6 weeks, and I don't know if that's because fans are back in the stadiums or what, but I don't know what's going on with all the
Yeah.
overtime. It's
I
fun
don't
to
know.
watch, but
Yeah.
it's different.
You miss the beginning of your game if you're on the same channel and you're still watching an old game, don't you?
Yep, yep. Yes, you
So
do.
I have noticed that as well. I was going to comment on that. I'm happy you brought it up, just because this goes back to what 2 weeks now that we've been discussing that this year these teams are playing like everyone can beat everyone on any
Mm.
given day. So I feel like that's another testament to that. That's just kind of showing that all these teams are very competitive with the other teams. I mean, you have your outliers like Chargers, Ravens, whatever. But for the most part, even the teams that are doing terrible, the Lions,
Mm-hmm.
they're competitive in these games. Not this week, but like the last couple weeks, they've been competitive, and it's I don't know. I just feel like that all these teams are kind of neutral now compared to other teams.
Mm-hmm. And there's no free weeks, it seems. You can't just coast against any team.
Yep, absolutely. And I think that all these teams that are above 500 right now better be thankful that they're above 500, because I don't think that there's one of these teams that hasn't had a game that they easily could have lost, or a couple. I mean, uh, you could say it about every team. The Vikings could be 1-5, or they could be 6-0. You know,
Mm-hmm.
little things change the game. So even the Cardinals could have a loss to the Vikings.
Yep.
So I think it's just crazy how close these games are, and how competitive they are this year. It's you said it. It's very fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know. So what do you think? Should we dive right in? I think
Let's get to it.
I think we dive right in. Bucks and Eagles. This one I am not surprised by the outcome, but I am surprised with the scoring on the Eagles' end and the lack of scoring on Tampa Bay's end, maybe.
Um, I think Tampa Bay honestly started to coast a little bit, which it was the fourth quarter, so they were up by 14 in the fourth quarter, so it was fine that Philadelphia scored.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they cared too much.
Yep. And what I'm seeing from stats is Tom Brady had a really good game again. 34 for 42, 297 yards, 2 touchdowns. Little blemish with the interception, but quarterbacks throw interceptions. I actually have no idea what kind of interception that was. That could have been a tip ball that should have been caught. So
Yeah, see it.
um, rushing, Leonard Fournette had an okay game. 22 carries for 81 yards, 2 touchdowns. Those 2 touchdowns help a lot for his stats, but they barely crested 100 yards rushing. Um, so maybe I'm a little concerned with their rushing game right now. Um, but as far as I can see, he's Tom Brady's spreading the ball out pretty good. Um, with the targets he has, like with Mike Evans Antonio Brown, you're going to see him spread the ball out. He's known for spreading the ball out to people like that. He made Cordero Patterson significant again in the NFL because he used him. They weren't expecting to use him, but he knew how to use him. Tom Brady is good at that. So I think that's all I have to really say on the Bucks. You got anything on the Bucks side or?
Nope. Tom Brady is an elite quarterback. Still don't like him, but he is elite. Fournette, he did what he had to do. Not over 100, but 2 touchdowns still.
Yep.
Good stuff from the Buccaneers all around.
Yep. You want to dive into the Eagles a little bit here?
Sure. I mean, Jalen Hurts is 12 for 26, 115 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Lack of a rushing game. Overall lack of a passing game. I honestly think that it looks closer than it was because they kind of just got a garbage time touchdown.
Yep.
And that's
the two from it, so it's like.
Yeah, I mean, there's really not much to say about the Eagles. Nothing great, nothing super horrible. But,
right.
I mean, just if you go over to the team stats, Tampa Bay completely dominated everything, and that's just how it was. They almost had 20 minutes more in time of possession.
Yep.
So
something I'm also seeing here is 7 penalties for 120 yards from Tampa Bay. Ouch.
Yeah, that's because they're dirty.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I just you're in week 6 already. You should not be giving the other team 120 yards. That's ridiculous. Anyway, from what I'm seeing is the same thing you said. It's kind of a Tampa Bay just won this game, kind of easily. I feel like I agree with you that last score was just kind of a garbage time score, and then I mean, to me, it looks like the Eagles couldn't really get anything going. It has them punting 5 times, 2 sacks allowed. They are 3 for 10 on third down conversion. Just rough overall for them. And honestly, to me, it looks like Tampa Bay should have had a higher score. So I think I was right in that sense. But also, I agree with you that they were coasting.
I think they coasted.
Yeah.
Which they had the right to. They're up 2 scores, and 1 touchdown doesn't hurt.
Right. So Tampa Bay wins this one 28-22 over the Philadelphia Eagles. Tampa Bay is 5-1 now. They're still showing their dominance. Philadelphia drops to 2-4. And actually, if I'm being honest with you, 2-4 for an Eagles team that was testing out quarterbacks for the first couple weeks, or trying to figure shit out for the first couple weeks, I'm okay with. They can make a bounce back. I don't think they make playoffs, but they could if they have a good next couple games, a good stretch of games coming up here.
Possible.
So, all right, let's head over to the next game. Looks like we have the Dolphins and the Jags. You had the Dolphins winning this one.
Yeah, and I remember kind of talking about it. I kind of wanted to go with the Jags just because they have more experience playing over in London. They're one of the teams that do it every single year. But, I mean, ended up being a very close game. Jags win 23-20. But I wanted to go with the Jags, but I just couldn't with their 0-5 record.
Right. To me, it looks like there was a lot of field goals being kicked in this game. Total of 6, 3 for each team. And actually, the Jags won because their kicker went 3 for 3, and the Dolphins kicker went 2 for 3. So that's the difference. They're okay. So let's start with the Dolphins, I guess. This Tog of I don't even Tua
Tua Tago Tua is
Tua.
his first name.
33 for 47, 329 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. That is a I'll take that. That's not bad.
He's a rookie quarterback. That is a fantastic game for
Yeah,
a rookie.
absolutely. Rushing looks like they were struggling to do. Those are kind of poor numbers on the rushing side. It looks like they
very bad.
what did they get? 90 yards? 80? Not even 60, 70, 75?
Yeah, it looks about right.
75 yards rushing, or somewhere around there. That's not that great. You need to get that up. But also, I'm seeing that one of their leading rushers is your quarterback, and I don't know.
He's coming off an injury too, so he really should be careful doing that.
I agree. Spreading the ball out, absolutely, when it comes to passing. Mike Gesicki.
Yep.
Uh,
Thing is, he's their tight end, which it's not the worst thing in the world to have your tight end be your top target, but you only have one of them, where you have typically at least 2 receivers on the field.
Yep, absolutely.
Sometimes 3. So.
But yeah, they had some pretty good games. I think we can swing over to the Jags, right?
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence, 25 for 41, 319 yards, 1 touchdown. I'll take that. That is a better game than he's been doing. I mean, that is a better performance than he has been doing. And once again, you have your rookie quarterback. It's hard coming into this league as a rookie and performing on your first year. Not a lot of quarterbacks do it. Some do, but not a lot. And I think Trevor Lawrence is on the path that most quarterbacks are taking right now. They're not expected to do some 500-yard, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and 80% passing. So I think he's right where he needs to be. He's making progress, and I think he'll be a good quarterback in the league later. Rushing was poor on their side. James Robinson did okay, 17 carries for 73 yards and a touchdown. But that is your sole running back. So there's only one other person that ran the ball, and it was Trevor Lawrence. I don't know if I like that.
Well, it's 2 for 11 yards, so that seems kind of like a scramble drill. I can accept that.
I just don't like that there's only one other running back. Like one person that.
Yeah, typically teams will have at least a third down running back, or a lot of teams are switching to the 2-back tandem.
Yep.
The Jags apparently haven't. I mean, he's doing okay, but maybe he was getting tired. 84 yards total rushing. That's still not enough. So
right. Marvin Jones had a good game, 7 receptions for 100 yards. And it looks like Trevor Lawrence is spreading the ball out pretty good as well. Like I said, I think this game kind of comes down to kicking. All the team stats are right down the middle for the most part. And everything looks, I mean, your penalties are 1 yard apart. Time of possession is 4 minutes different. There was turnover on both sides. They look similar to me, and I think it just comes down to that one kick, if I'm being honest with you.
Yep, I'm with you. These teams are both not contenders. This is kind of a worst against worst type of matchup.
Yep. So Jacksonville wins this one 23-20 over the Miami Dolphins. Both teams are currently 1-5, so they got that win. So I think the Lions are the only winless team now, right?
Correct.
All right. So we can swing on to the next game here. Looks like we have the Vikings and the Panthers. Let me dive into this here, Lukey. So I didn't get to watch the first half. But from what I could see, the game was pretty dead even the whole way.
Yep, this one went into overtime.
Yep. Kirk Cousins had a hell of a game. 33 for 48, 373 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Dalvin Cook, 29 carries for 140 yards and a touchdown. Love to see that. And there you have C.J. Ham. Actually, that's your what is that? A tailback?
Fullback.
Fullback. 1 carry for 30 yards, and that was a. I mean, you could tell he wasn't as fast, but he was psyched after that one. Adam Thielen, 11 receptions for 126 yards. He's doing things that he should be doing. Justin Jefferson, 80 yards. Ball was spread out about how you'd expect the Vikings to spread the ball out. Uh, I would say Greg Joseph needs to step it up. He missed 2 field goals, so I don't know if something's going to end up changing again. That's a typical Vikings thing to do. Um, but all in all, the Vikings stats aren't bad. They're actually pretty good. Let's go over to the Panthers. Sam Darnold, 17 for 41, 207 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Um,
Holy crap on that completion percentage.
yeah, it's real bad. It's real bad. It's like 40 something, right? 45? Something like that.
It's below 50%.
Um, running wasn't that great on their side. Passing, he spread the ball out. And actually, these stats don't look like the game was actually played. There was a lot of momentum on Carolina's side for a while, and it kind of felt like it was tipping in their favor. But
I guess something just to bring up quick, it's not completely Sam Darnold's fault with that completion percentage, and some of the receiving numbers lie. I don't remember the full count, but the Panthers had a lot of dropped balls
yep,
that were catchable.
absolutely,
So,
yep. If you swing over to the team stats, everything, and I mean everything, is in favor of the Vikings. 570 yards total compared to 306. Somewhere that okay, so if you look at just the stats, the Vikings win this game no problem. Okay.
mhm.
Now I think we do need to discuss special teams on the Vikings end for the past 2 weeks. Okay. There has been a blocked punt 2 weeks in a row for the Vikings. They need to step up their fucking special teams shit, or else I'm gonna get pissed off, dude. We should be winning these games like easily. And Zimmer said it in interviews afterwards that there were ample opportunities to put this game away in the third quarter, and they didn't do it.
Mhm.
And that I feel like comes down to special teams. It comes down to interceptions and what are not interceptions, fumbles and blocked punts or whatever you want to call it. Also, penalties kind of bit Vikings in the ass there. I will say their first half was pretty clean. The second half was disgusting. Time of possession all in Vikings' favor. Carolina played a good game. They just didn't get it done in the end. It did go into overtime, and Osborne had a walk-off touchdown to start overtime. So that's actually all I have to say. Do you have any other comments on this game?
Unfortunate for the Panthers. They are not a great team without Christian McCaffrey, and he is in fact placed on injured reserve now. It's not
Yep.
a certain amount of weeks for him to come back. It's possibly the rest of the season.
Yep.
He's an injury-prone guy. He's good, but something's got to get figured out with that.
Yep, I agree. So the Minnesota Vikings take this one 34-28 in overtime. Both teams are 3-3. I'm sorry. Minnesota Vikings beat Carolina Panthers. Both teams are now 3-3, and I think we can swing over to the next game.
Yep.
So this next game we got is the Chargers and the Ravens. And this one kind of surprised me a little bit. Just the difference in score here. I'll let you dive into this one.
Yeah, me as well. Justin Herbert did okay, less than 200 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. A total of 26 yards rushing.
Yeah.
Have fun doing that against a Ravens team
Yeah.
that is very good at rushing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the highest yardage of receiving on the Chargers side was 50 yards.
It's Keenan Allen.
Yeah, they got one touchdown through the tight end and missed the extra point, apparently.
That's what it looks like.
Just the Chargers have been looking really great, and now they kind of just dropped the ball. That's just an ugly score to look at.
Yeah. Something I will say real quick. You could say they dropped the ball, but don't expect them to come out and be an easy win for next week because the Baltimore Ravens are very, very good this year.
Yeah, I guess I can agree with that. I mean, just going over to the Ravens, Lamar Jackson really didn't have a very good game. 167 yards passing, one touchdown, two interceptions. They had a good rushing game, though. Total of 187 yards rushing.
Yep.
With 3 of their touchdowns coming through rushing.
Yeah.
This Lamar Jackson is still, he's not the top this time, but he is the second leading rusher on their team. That's still iffy for me. Justin Tucker, their kicker, he's golden boy, holds the record for the longest kick. He's perfect as usual. The passing yards for team stats overall actually favored the Chargers, but everything else was dominated by the Ravens.
Yep.
Time of possession was 17 minutes greater towards the Ravens. Pretty clean game, a total of 6 penalties, 50 yards in penalties only. 2 interceptions thrown, 1 interception thrown for the Chargers. The Ravens are allowing 3 sacks, though. That if Lamar is going to be running, he needs to be protected a little bit better.
extra hits on the quarterback that you don't want to see, especially with a rushing quarterback like that.
Like you said, the Chargers still aren't going to be an easy win in the next few weeks, but the Ravens are doing what I guess they're finally expected to do. Yep. And they actually kind of blew out the Chargers, and that was a surprising score. I thought it would have been a little bit better of a game.
Yep. So the Baltimore Ravens win this one 34-6 over the Los Angeles Chargers. The Chargers are 4-2 now, and the Ravens advance to 5-1. We can swing over to the next game. The next game is the Rams and the Giants. This one doesn't surprise me one bit. Looks like Matt Stafford got pulled for a little bit. So
I would assume that's kind of a garbage time thing.
Yeah, because he had a hell of a game. 22 for 28, great percentage, 250 yards, 4 touchdowns, and then the 1 interception. But like I said, I didn't watch the game. I could have been a tip ball. Their rushing looks like it's being divided between 2 people in a pretty I would say productive way. But they do have the Darrell Henderson, 21 carries for 78 yards. It's not bad, but it could be better. Cooper Kupp is obviously going to continue to be Cooper Kupp. 9 receptions for 130 yards, 2 touchdowns. Looks to me like you got to guard Cooper. You got to double coverage on Cooper Kupp, and that's...
Well, and that's the thing. Cooper Kupp is humble, as far as I've heard. Because if you double cover Cooper, then Robert Woods is
Robert Woods, yep.
And he's fine with that. Like we talked about last week, they have that competition. It's not just receptions and touchdowns. It's who can throw the best blocks and whatnot. And
Yeah.
That's a good team chemistry for him.
Absolutely. If you go and swing over to the Giants stats, Daniel Jones didn't have a bad game. 29 for 51.
I think he did.
Did he throw those interceptions like that though? Like, did he just miss passes?
I didn't see the game, but I just see 3 interceptions with 0 touchdowns.
Okay. Let's do that then. Daniel Jones sucked dick. He's a piece of shit and can't play football. Do you want to elaborate on that? You're the one that said that. Can you elaborate on him sucking dick and can't play football, Luke?
I mean, I could start in the NFL and throw 3 interceptions no problem. So
Yeah.
I don't
No,
that's where we're getting at with that.
I'll be honest with you. I didn't even look over at the interceptions. I was looking at his total yards and percentage, and he was above 50%, and he threw for 250 yards. So, yes, he threw 3 interceptions, 0 touchdowns. That's rough. Like I said, I have no idea what those interceptions looked like, but regardless, if you continue going down the line, their rushing game was very poor. It looks like they barely got over 50 yards rushing.
Is Saquon Barkley out? Is he on injured reserve now too?
I believe he is. He is on injury reserve now. Which is another thing. He is injury prone as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, passing, Sterling Shepard probably played the best game out of everybody on this team. But there's not much to look at, if I'm being honest with you. If you go over to the team stats, they're all in favor of LA. Time of possession was 4 minutes different. Nothing really else to say.
The last thing I got to say is the Rams posted the entire second half, which they had every right to do. If you look at the score per quarter,
Yep.
they scored 28 points in the second quarter.
Yeah, it's 4 touchdowns. Literally 4 touchdowns and 4 extra points.
You could have. I don't know exactly when Matt Stafford got pulled, but you could have started your second team, your backups in the third quarter right away.
Yep.
Second half could have been the entire thing.
Yep, and it didn't look like defense was an issue for the Rams either. So you could just give up all your offensive possessions and punt the ball on first down every time, and you'd probably still win this game with that lead.
Yeah, realistically, I would say this is a 38-3 score.
Yep.
Just because they probably pulled some of the defensive starters too, and they got a touchdown and a 2-point in garbage time.
Yep, I agree with you. So overall, this game went exactly how we expected it to go. I don't think that there's anything special to say about this past what we already said, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so the Los Angeles Rams win this one 38-11 over the New York Giants. The Rams are now 5-1, and the Giants are 1-5, and we can swing to the next game. Our next game is the Texans and the Colts, and the Colts, I feel like, are better than 2-4 right now.
I agree with that.
Maybe they'll step it up through the rest of the season. I can see them actually making playoffs through that 7th spot. That's that 3rd wild card spot. Possibly if they start winning and they're winning with leads like this, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So let's dive into the Texans here. Davis Mills played what do you want to call it? A poor game. 29 for 43, 243 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Mark Ingram Jr. rushed okay. Their rushing wasn't bad. They cracked on.
Realistically, the rushing and receiving on the Texans wasn't that bad, but they can't find the end zone.
No. Yeah, I agree with you there.
It's kind of like Trump built the wall for the Texans. They can't get into the end zone.
Yep, absolutely. Uh, Carson Wentz actually kind of didn't really have to do much, I guess. He was 11 for 20, 223 yards, and 2 touchdown passes, 0 interceptions. It looks like their rushing game was kind of all coming through Jonathan Taylor, 14 carries for 145 yards. I take that all day. That's 2 touchdowns from him as well. Seemed like he.
That stat.
What's that?
I know you love that stat.
Absolutely.
Over 10 yards average.
Oh, 100%. That is ideal out of a running back. And I don't know if Texans defense is weak or what, but if I had a running back that could produce like that, I would be happy. Which I actually kind of do with Dalvin Cook. But that's a good stat to look at. I would say that he outperformed everybody. He's my MVP for this game. T.Y. Hilton, like I said, Carson Wentz only threw the ball 20 times. So if you're getting four catches or 4 receptions for 80 yards, I'm okay with that. You accept that. Looks like he's, with the amount of passing he did, he spread the ball out, you could say. But nothing really to say from that. It all kind of came out of Jonathan Taylor. If you go to look at the team stats, the Colts are in the lead in every one of them except for passing yards. Doesn't even look, maybe the 3 turnovers out of Houston affected this game. I would assume so. Actually looks like they controlled the ball better. They had more time with it, and they just turned it over, and Indianapolis took advantage of it.
Yep.
I don't have too much else to say.
I think at this point, if you are playing fantasy football, if some of your players are going against the Texans defense, play them.
Put them in.
Because the Texans defense can't seem to stop anything.
Yep, I agree with you. I'm done with this one. Are you done with this one?
Yes, sir.
All right, Indianapolis Colts win this one 31-3 over the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans are now 1-5, and the Colts are 2-4. And I think that this team could make it to 500 coming up here in the next 5 weeks. I would have, or not 500. It'd be like 6 weeks. I think that they can make it to 500. So we can swing to the next game here. Looks like we have the Chiefs and the Washington football team, and this one went exactly how I expected. Go ahead and take this one as well, Luke.
Chiefs win 31-13. Patrick Mahomes almost 400 yards, 2 touchdowns. The 2 interceptions are a little bit concerning. He is already over. It's week 6, and he has thrown more interceptions than he has all of last year.
Yep.
So something might be going on there. Williams got 62 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns.
It's not bad. It's just could be
2
better.
touchdowns. They're with Patrick Mahomes. They're typically a passing offense, so he's doing his part. Travis Kelce just under 100. Tyreek Hill 75. Somewhat spreading the ball out. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different receivers. So doing what you got to do. Hit a 52-yard field goal on the Chiefs side. Not much to say on it. It's just the 2 interceptions from Patrick Mahomes is still pretty concerning.
Yep.
Heineke over for Washington, under 200 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Let's see, 80, right around 90 some yards rushing. Not great.
Yep.
Nothing very impressive. I see on the receiving end. Just
I
2
mean,
for 3 with the kicking.
it doesn't look like they have a standout player. anywhere. Usually you get one on your team that's standing out a little bit more. Cordero Patterson is a very good example of that. He stands out for the Falcons. Even
Mhm.
it doesn't look like anybody's executing in a way that makes them a star for this team.
Yep. And I mean, overall, there were 2 turnovers from Washington and 3 from the Chiefs. So the Chiefs definitely were expected to win, even though they have an iffy record compared to what everybody thought. But that has to do with their turnovers.
Yep.
Too many interceptions from Holmes and too many fumbles. They're having issues there that they need to kind of figure out.
Yep. I agree. I don't really have anything to say on this other than I agree with you. I think we have to focus on Patrick Mahomes and those 2 interceptions. From a quarterback that is literally like MVP of the league in a sense, like everybody considers him comparable to Tom Brady right now. It's like whenever you bring up that discussion of Tom Brady being the GOAT, it's like, hey, well, Patrick Mahomes is coming, right? And I don't think that if he keeps performing like he has been in these first 6 weeks, I don't think that that conversation will continue on, and I think that it'll die out. So, doesn't we're not saying that he's a bad quarterback at all. We're not. You don't expect this out of him because he started so hot in his career.
Yep.
Um, I guess I don't really have anything else to say on this.
No.
Okay.
No.
So Kansas City Chiefs are win this one 31-13 over the Washington football team. The Chiefs are now 3-3 and Washington is 2-4. Something I will say about the Chiefs 3-3 record, I truly feel like that is where they deserve to be right now. I
Um,
don't think that they are better than 3-3 as of right now.
I guess this season, with what they're doing, I agree with you. But if they were actually playing at the level that they should be,
Yep.
then they should definitely be at least the 4-2, 5-1, 6-0 type.
Yeah. And I understand that and I agree with you, but that that's why I phrased it the way how they're playing right now, how this season has been going for them. They deserve a 3-3 record, and it's obviously because I mean that's their record, but I think that they are middle of the pack right now is what I'm getting at.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, we can hop into the next game here. Looks like we have the Packers and the Bears, and you go ahead and take this one, buddy boy.
Uh, great rivalry between the Packs and the Bears. I don't know if it's considered the best rivalry, but
It's the
it is
oldest.
considered it is the oldest rivalry.
Yep.
Uh, and so it went pretty well. Aaron Rodgers just under 200 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. That's kind of low for him.
I would say so, yeah.
Uh, Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon did okay running the ball. Their Packers are still trying to become a rushing team as well as passing. Aaron Rodgers with a rushing touchdown, so I think that was like maybe a 5 yard touchdown where he just kind of a scramble drill, if
Mm-hmm.
I remember correctly.
Yep.
Uh, Definitely spreading the ball out pretty well. Still getting Devontae Adams quite a few yards, just under 90. Aaron Jones with the receiving touchdown. Alan Lazard with the receiving touchdown. Um, Mason Crosby only had 1 field goal attempt, which he made, so he's
Bouncing back a bit.
over bouncing back from his 3 misses last week.
Okay, you're lagging out a bit on me. Hold on. What's happening? Okay.
Over the Bears, not okay, good. Over to the Bears, overall just kind of meh. Justin Fields, 174 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. They did have a good rusher, which is this Khalil Herbert.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Haven't heard of him before, and something I'm noticing is Montgomery did not play, and I don't know if he got hurt or what's going on there.
Right.
But this Herbert had almost 100 yards and a touchdown, so that's a good sign from the Bears. Spreading the ball out to his receivers, but nothing overly impressive. No field goal attempts, just extra points from their 2 touchdowns. Team stats overall, all in favor of the Packers. And
I gotta say real quick, slightly in favor of the Packers. It is pretty close.
No.
I mean, they're all in favor of the Packers. If you go down to the bottom, looks like they only got put in third down 8 times, and their one time they were in fourth down, they got it.
Yep. And Packers played a relatively clean game. 3 penalties, although the 51 yards, that is for sure a defensive pass interference, so that is a lot of yards.
Mm-hmm.
Something I did like, I guess when Aaron Rodgers, this is the last thing I'm going to say about it. When Aaron Rodgers scored his rushing touchdown, apparently due to the rivalry, there was a Bears fan giving the double bird.
Yep.
And I read some of the dialogue from his press conference, and Aaron Rodgers said he kind of blacked out with what he said, but it was pretty clear to some of the cameras. It's like, I fucking own you. I own you all my life.
Yep.
And,
yep. I love that so much. He doesn't regret one bit of it.
kind of good that he got a fire under his butt.
Yeah, dude, I love that. That's the energy I like to see in the NFL. A lot of people dislike that, and I know that the refs and like the league are trying to cut down on stuff like that, but I love shit like that. People like, I don't, obviously it was against the Packers, and it was disliked by mostly everybody. But when Randy Moss like fake mooned the Packers fans, do you remember that?
No, that's a different situation.
Okay, no. Stop. I don't like the fake mooning thing, but I like the interaction. Does that make sense? I love that, like, just anger and like, I don't know. That's why I like Baker Mayfield. In college, he was like that too. He was like turning around and talking to like the fans and like just being like, "Shut the fuck up! You guys all suck at this. Like, go back to basketball." And and it's amazing. I love that shit. Nobody likes it, but I love it. And I think that's a good thing for the Packers. And honestly, I think that's a really good thing for Aaron Rodgers. I feel like that'll get a lot more support. I know that he's been having trouble getting the support he used to have with the Packers just because of this offseason. But I think that in 4 or 5, it's probably been 4 weeks, he has gained back everybody's like support. I would say so. And I think that actually helps a lot. Yep. I like that energy. Anyway, Green Bay Packers win this one 24-14 over the Chicago Bears. The Packers are now 5-1, and they are leading the NFC North. And the Bears dropped to 3-3 and tied with the Vikings for second in the NFC North. I'm only saying that stat because that's the teams we care about. All right. So our next game is going to be the Bengals and the Lions. And I'll be honest with you, I think I picked the Lions for this one. And I fucking shouldn't have.
Picked the Lions? I don't remember if I did or not.
I need to find my week 5.
Or no, I think I picked the Lions the week before, and they still disappointed me. I think I went Bengals.
Yep, you did go Bengals. I went Lions because I was hoping for something. But if I'm being honest with you, I don't have too much to say. I'll talk about this one for a little bit. Joe Burrow, he played a okay game, 19 for 29, 271 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Looks like Joe Mixon is his guy. He's gonna be handing the ball off to 18 carries for 94 yards. I like to see that. I'll take that. Out of a running back. Receiving was spread between 4 people, looks like, and Jamar Chase was your leading receiver. 4 receptions, 97 yards, 4 touchdowns passing. That's looks like where they got all their points. And then kicking 2 for 2. The Lions, Jared Goff played a below average game for him, but it's hard to when you don't have weapons to use around you. 28 for 42, 202 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception. Rushing was very, very bad out of the Lions. It looks like they didn't crack 40, 36 yards rushing. And actually, let's drop that down to 35 because Jared Goff ran for 1 yard. Passing was a little better. It looks like he's spreading the ball out quite a bit. I will take some of the receiving stats on this end, but it just isn't good enough when your rush game is poor, and I don't know. Just seems like there's not weapons around Jared Goff, because we all know Jared Goff can be a really good quarterback and is a really good quarterback. It's just the weapons around him aren't doing what they need to. If you go look at the team stats, the Bengals, you go ahead and take the team stats.
All in favor of the Bengals.
Yeah.
36 yards total for Lions rushing. Just gross.
Yep.
Each team had an interception. Bengals dominated time of possession 11 minutes. It was the only reason. This is another kind of weird one where we did end up with essentially a blowout. There's 11 points. That's garbage time.
Yep.
Bengals were up 20-0 going into the fourth quarter.
Yep. And also another stat that we can point out for the Lions is 9 penalties for 77 yards. If you're above 50 yards with your penalties, you need to have a discussion, like minimum. Like, if you're at 51, that's just a discussion. But, 77, I feel like you should maybe be running at practice a little bit.
Yeah, I think the Lions they're just getting frustrated. And they have a right to be. That entire fan base, the team, something's got to happen there.
Yep. And does it come down to ownership? I have no idea who owns the Lions. I don't know anything about their main office, but I feel like sometimes when you get a new owner, they make stuff happen. They pay for certain people, and they know where they need to be. So maybe that's something they need to change.
I think it's an old lady, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, well, maybe.
I don't remember her name, but she's like the second owner of the team. Like, her dad was the original owner or something.
Oh, okay. So yeah, maybe it's something there. But I think what we can see out of this is that Cincinnati is actually not that bad of a team. I would say that they are.
Do you think they're playoff contenders? I'm starting to lean that way.
I feel like they are playoff contenders only through wild card, though. One of those wild card spots, and that's your only chance. And I think it's going to be the whole NFL. I feel like that's where all these teams are at. Is they're all the contenders are pretty much in contention for those wild card spots.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but they because they're in the bracket with the Steelers, the Ravens, and who's their fourth? I'm blanking right now.
I don't remember either.
Anyways, I think the Ravens are probably going to take that one, no problem. It's going to be between Bengals and Steelers
and both of them can make it because of that third spot. So, but also I think we saw from this game that Detroit is 0-6, and that's kind of where they're supposed to be at. I feel like they're just kind of playing their role right now, and I don't know. So Anyway, Cincinnati Bengals won this one 34-11 against the Detroit Lions. Cincinnati is now 4-2. They're having a good start to their season, and Detroit is having the worst start to their season they possibly could. They remain winless. We can swing over to the next game here real quick. Looks like we have the Cardinals and the Browns, and I'll be honest with you, this one was not as close as I thought it was going to be. First half started out that way, but then the second half just fell apart. Oh, shit, I got to plug in my... Sorry. Go ahead, talk.
I thought the Browns defense would do a little bit better. The Browns don't have a super high-powered offense or super quick offense. They have the running game, which is a clock control type of offense. Kyler Murray's having a hell of a season. 230 yards, 4 touchdowns. Great for him. Decent running game. They're spreading the ball out to looks like 3 main running backs. Pretty good receiving. AJ Green, Christian Kirk, DeAndre Hopkins. Kind of like Tom Brady with all his weapons. If you double cover one, you still have a number 1 receiver available. Decent defense, good kicking for the Cardinals, 3 for 3 with Matt Prater, and then making all of his extra points. Over to the Browns. Baker Mayfield has honestly had a pretty average Baker Mayfield day. 235 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception.
I see a little bit of Case Keenum action.
Oh yeah, I didn't know he was still in the league.
I didn't either. Hey, but he brought the Vikings to an NFC championship and got shit on. But he brought them there.
Something I'm noticing, Nick Chubb must have been out with illness or injury.
That might have been a big contribution to their loss, if I'm being honest with you.
I do think so. Kareem Hunt has been a starting running back, but I think he's kind of been getting into that role of the tandem running backs, and he didn't have that great of a game.
Yep.
He needed his partner there with him. Peoples-Jones had a hell of a game. 101 yards, 2 touchdowns, and not even his favorite target. He only had 4 receptions. Odell Beckham had 5. No field goal attempts, just the 2 extra points from their kicker. Honestly, the Browns did end up passing more than the Cardinals, but otherwise it's mainly Cardinals. I think the time of possession, which is usually the Browns thing with the running game, was actually skewed 10 minutes towards the Cardinals.
Because of 3 turnovers out of the Browns, in my opinion.
Yep, 2 fumbles lost and 1 interception thrown, and 0 turnovers from the Cardinals.
Pretty poor penalty yards on the Browns side as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
I really don't have much to say. I expected the Cardinals to win, but I kind of expected the Browns defense to do a little better.
Yeah, and I'm kind of sitting here and I'm like, okay, well, is this just a bad game for them? They're sitting at 3-3 too, and people are saying that they're finally being recognized as a team that can compete. And I don't know, is that a franchise thing? Just like they're starting to drop off, and people are starting to it's turning into a joke. I've seen stuff on social media talking about this, that like just when they begin to like get looked at, they start playing like shit. You're supposed to get better with Odell.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping it's just an off game for them. It was nice to see them finally doing well.
Yeah.
But we will see.
I guess,
I
yeah.
guess.
So Arizona Cardinals win this one 37-14 over the Cleveland Browns. Arizona remains undefeated, and the Cleveland Browns are sitting at 500, 3-3. We can swing to the next game here. Looks like we have the Cowboys and the Patriots, and this one was a close one and a very entertaining one, actually. This one also went into overtime. Dak Prescott, 36 for 51, 445 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Holy shit, what a game. The interception, I have no idea what it looked like, but it didn't affect his stats in the sense that I still think that he had a hell of a game.
Mm-hmm.
Ezekiel Elliott, 17 carries for 69 yards. He didn't do great, but there were some key plays that I noticed when I was watching this one that he made plays in times that he needed to. CD Lamb actually had a fucking awesome game. 9 receptions for 149 yards and 2 touchdowns. One of them being the game winner in overtime. Great game. Let's swing down to defense. This is the first time that we're actually discussing defense. Trayvon Diggs, that's Stephon Diggs' brother, currently is tied with Stephon Diggs for touchdowns.
I do believe that he has more interceptions than about half the teams in the league right now.
He is playing out of his mind.
Does he have 7 interceptions, or maybe it's 8 now?
I think it's 7.
That was a
tip.
Interception touchdown,
and it was a tip ball. I will say, it wasn't.
He ran that one back.
Yep, he did. Yep, and that put him ahead of Stephon. Stephon got his touch. They're tied for touchdowns with him now in the Monday night game. But yeah, that's a hell of a defensive player. They got a real good team. The Dallas Cowboys do. Kicking 3 for 4. You miss once in a while, but you'd like to see that perfect 100%. Patriots. Mac Jones played great for this struggling New England's team. 15 for 21, 229 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. And to me, it seemed that he did a lot of his passing towards the end of the game.
Yeah, they did have 101 yard rusher with a touchdown, so he was actually had a rushing game.
Yep.
So
spread the ball out pretty good, and I think that just comes down to him not having his favorite targets picked out yet. But you have your leading receiver has 1 reception and 75 yards for a touchdown. But after that, it's 5 receptions for 44 yards. He didn't play great. The Patriots honestly got a lot more points than it looks like from the stats sheet. But yeah, if you swing over to the team stats, everything is in Dallas's favor, except for penalties. They had 12 penalties for 115 yards. You better get excited about getting your ass chewed for an entire week of practice. That is not okay.
And they're actually going on bye, so they get 2 weeks of chewing.
Yeah, no kidding. So I guess we'll see what happens. Time difference is 15 minutes. Cowboys held the ball for 15 minutes longer. This game went into overtime. New England somehow came back and scored 15 in the 4th and tied it. And then they just kind of blew coverage on a play in overtime so that CD Lamb could score. But past that, there's nothing really else to say. Dallas should have won this game. New England kept it close.
Yep, New England defense must be doing something right. Dallas was 3 for 13 on 3rd down. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Patriots.
Absolutely. Just couldn't get the win. So Dallas wins this one 35-29 over the New England Patriots in overtime. Dallas improves to 5-1 and New England drops to 2-4. So we can swing on to the next game here. Our next game is the Raiders and the Broncos. And I'll be honest with you, I was kind of surprised that the Raiders won this one with a brand new coach. He must have been doing something right, or they must have.
Interim coach. I don't think they
Yep.
have their true head coach picked out yet. And
Correct.
yeah, I'm with you. I thought they would kind of have more off-field stuff where their minds might not be fully in the game, but we were both surprised here.
Yep. This one I think we can go pretty quick through. Derek Carr, 18 for 27, 341 yards, 2 touchdowns. Great game out of Derek Carr. That's what you want to see out of a quarterback that you expect stuff like that out of. So that's awesome. Rushing game was okay. Seems like they, it wasn't even okay. I'm not even going to say that. 16 carries. I mean, this Joshua Jacobs, 16 carries for 53 yards. I want to see more running backs over 100 yards. You should have, or at least a duo that can break 150. Because I'm not seeing a whole lot out of these guys in the rushing category. The passing category is kind of fun to look at. Derek Carr spread the ball out like a motherfucker, and it shows. You have a lot of productive people on the receiving end. Kicking 2 for 3. Daniel Carlson.
Yep, Dan Carlson.
You gotta hit those, buddy. But they won the game regardless, so whatever. Teddy Bridgewater, yikes. 35 for 49, 334 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. So that's basically a wash. I mean, we can basically say that he just threw the ball for 300 yards for no reason. But it's not terrible. I think that the Broncos are trying to push the ball down the field a little more, get some bigger yardage plays. Looks like Teddy spread the ball out real good too. I mean, these quarterbacks are like Teddy put up yards. He just couldn't. He couldn't do anything with them. It looks like you got all those interceptions. I don't want to look at that. If you go over to the team stats, actually, to me, it looks like everything's kind of in favor of the Broncos. But
pretty even.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's dead even. Your rushing game is a little better on Denver's side, which it wasn't great on either side. Penalties were dead even. 4 turnovers out of the Broncos. They could have won this game if they don't turn the ball over 4 times. They controlled the ball better. They had 10 more minutes with the ball. They converted more third downs. They had more first downs. Broncos should have won this game, if I'm being honest with you, actually.
They definitely had a chance.
Yeah, for sure. I don't have anything else to say past that. I think that the Broncos are deserving of a 3-3 record, and I think the Raiders are also deserving of a 4-2 record.
I agree.
So the Las Vegas Raiders win this one 34-24 over the Denver Broncos. That is also a division rivalry. And I think it was in Denver, wasn't it?
I don't know where that one was at.
So these guys gotta, I don't know. I feel like this could win either way. Maybe a little bit of that division rivalry coming up. So Las Vegas Raiders are now 4-2, and Denver Broncos are at 500, sitting with 3 wins and 3 losses. We can swing to the next game. It looks like we have the Seahawks and the Steelers. You want to talk about this, or do you want me to? I picked the Seahawks, and you picked the Steelers.
Seahawks don't have their starting quarterback. Geno Smith didn't have a bad game by any means. 210 yards, 1 touchdown. They had a hell of a rushing game. 100 yards by one person, one touchdown. But it's just back to it's not even if you would put, say, Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady on the same team, if you try and flip them out with the exact same receivers, you don't have the same rapport with them. And
Absolutely. I will say Geno Smith played very good for stepping in. DK Metcalf obviously is going to be your top receiver. Yeah. Kicking was fine on the Seahawks side, 2 for 2. This did go into overtime. If you swing over to the Steelers, Ben, 29 40 for 40, 229 yards, 1 touchdown. Honestly, the Steelers didn't do anything special either. It was just the same kind of shit, and that's what you see in an overtime game from, or what you see is similar stats. If you go look at I don't know. There's nothing really special out of their rushing game on Steelers side. There's nothing special out of their receiving game, other than the fact that it was spread. Ben Roethlisberger.
The Steelers got 5 sacks. The Steelers defense might finally be waking up a little bit.
Okay, I didn't get there yet. Yep.
A little bit, just because the game was still super close.
Right. Penalties were low. Time of possession is actually close. The time of possession is close. It just comes down to overtime. That's why it's a 10-minute difference, but it should have been a 4-minute difference, which is close. Team stats are in favor of the Steelers, but nothing like crazy. Yeah, I mean, both teams fumbled the ball for a lost ball, but I don't know. Anything else to say on this? Geno Smith played really good. He's going to be playing next week. If he kind of fits into a role, he's got a couple weeks to work on this, and I think that if he can pull off,
he's actually got more than a couple, I think, because Russell Wilson is placed on injured reserve.
Yep, they said that during the game, the announcers are talking about how they gave him 4 weeks minimum, and he was supposed to be able to bend his finger about that much, but he is already able to like bend his finger. So I guess he's making progress. Maybe he can make some crazy comeback like Adrian Peterson did when he tore his ACL and get back early. But as of right now, there are at least 3 more weeks with Geno Smith. And I think in those 3 weeks, if you can pull off 2 wins, you are all right.
Yep. Very last thing, I noticed that Ben Roethlisberger rushed twice for -3 yards. That just reminded me, going back to the Cowboys game, that for whatever reason, my Yahoo Fantasy app gave -99 rushing yards to Dak Prescott for about a minute. And then the system realized that was wrong and gave him back. But that was a what the hell.
No. Yeah, I get it. So yeah, Pittsburgh Steelers won. That's funny. I love that.
He was doing super well, and then all of a sudden he's down 10 points. He's like, what the hell happened? I'm watching this game. -99 rushing yards. What?
No. That's funny. So yeah, the Pittsburgh Steelers won this one 23-20 over the Seattle Seahawks in overtime. Seattle drops to 2-4, and Pittsburgh is also sitting at 500, 3-3. And then we have our next game, and this is our last game. This was probably the best game of the week. This game was fucking awesome to watch. So let's just dive right in and talk about the teams, and then we'll kind of discuss the game because the game was fun as fuck to watch. Josh Allen, 35 for 47, 353 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Awesome. Great game. Rushing, very poor on their end. But what are you going to do? Zach Moss had some key plays in the game that were, I don't know. He didn't do great, but he had some plays that were important. Emmanuel Sanders, 5 receptions, 91 yards. Ball was spread out very cleanly, I guess, between your receivers, from what I can see.
Yep.
Stephon Diggs is targeted a lot, but generally in third down situations. So, I mean, they're using what they got, how they should be using it. Tyler Bass, 3 for 3 with a long of 52 kicking. If you swing over to the Titans side, Ryan Tannehill, 18 for 29, 216 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception. Not that great. That's not great stats, but with Derrick Henry in the backfield, you can do stuff like that. 20 carries for 143 yards, 3 touchdowns. Good God.
Mm-hmm. I think he is one of the few backs in this league that is a true, he's the only running back.
Yep. And he can do it. He can do it too.
That's what I'm. Some teams have that, but Derrick Henry is the only one in the league, I believe, that can actually pull it off.
Yep. You have other players that hit that mark, does your 150 yards a game, whatever. You have people that hit that, but they don't hit it every week. Derrick Henry hits it every fucking week.
Yep.
We haven't seen anybody like that since Beast Mode, if I'm being honest with you.
Yep.
But anyway, on the receiving end, AJ Brown is doing AJ Brown stuff too. Very, very good game out of him. 7 receptions, 91 yards. Ball was spread out all right, not great. Looks like he's targeting 5 people for the most part, and one of them is your running back. So those are probably just dump plays or screen passes. Kicking 2 for 2 on the Titans side. If you go and look at the team stats, they are. I say we could draw a line down the middle here and kind of. I mean, rushing is obviously going to be in Tennessee's favor, and passing is going to be in Buffalo's favor, right?
Yep.
Time possession, pretty even. Titans need to work on their penalties, clean up their play a little bit. 7 for 91 yards. Couple interceptions thrown. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, let's...
Well, the last thing I got to say is that Buffalo technically had a couple minutes more time of possession, but with the Titans continuing to run Derrick Henry, that defense had to have been getting tired, and that's what must have happened for Tennessee to come back in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. And I'll be completely honest with you. I was absolutely blown away by the end of this game. Why did Buffalo not kick the field goal?
See, I didn't see this one, so
Okay, Buffalo was down on like the 10-yard line, and they had a 4th and 1 with like 50 seconds left, and they were
that's something the fans like to see when teams go for it on 4th down. But
you were in Tennessee.
Yeah, their fans watching at home.
Oh, okay.
But they like to see you go for it, but at the same time, if you went for the field goal, then you would at least have probably been in overtime.
Mm-hmm.
It's all kind of just a gut call.
They did a QB sneak, and he got fucking stuffed. And he's spun out. His whole foot slipped back, and he just laid on the ground. And then the game was over. I don't know. You kick that field goal, you bring it into overtime, you're not stopping Buffalo's offense. It was pretty clear to see that you weren't going to stop Buffalo's offense there. I don't know. It didn't seem right to me, but the game was great. I was honestly assuming that Buffalo wins this one. But didn't go that way, and Tennessee did.
Yep.
Both teams are very good.
Yep.
So, I don't know. Are you done with this one too?
Yes, sir.
All right. So the Tennessee Titans win this one 34-31 over the Buffalo Bills. Both teams are sitting at 4-2. I think that's where they deserve to be sitting, if I'm being honest with you.
Yep.
Cool. So that is all of the Week 6 action we just discussed. Like we said, the NFL is kind of weird this year, and everything's kind of tight. No one knows who's going to win any game. But here are Luke and I's predictions on Week 7, trying to predict what's going to happen. So I already wrote mine down, but I will tell you them as we go. Browns and Broncos. I have the Browns.
I'm gonna go Broncos.
Ha, bitch. Chiefs, Titans. I have Titans. It's tough now, isn't it? That's what I'm saying, dude. They
It's tough. I'm gonna go Chiefs just in case my dad ever watches this.
Good call. Washington and Packers. I have the Packers. You're gonna have the Packers.
Yep.
The Ravens and the Bengals. I picked the Ravens to win this one, but I was very hesitant on that.
I'm less hesitant. I'm choosing the Ravens.
Yep. Panthers, New York. You're gonna pick the Panthers.
Yep.
And then it is Falcons, Dolphins, and I actually initially put Miami down and then switched it to the Falcons.
I'm going Falcons.
And then we have Patriots and Jets. You're probably going Patriots.
Yep.
Raiders and Eagles. Are you doing Raiders? Yep.
Yep.
Rams and Lions. I have the Rams.
I have the Rams, but this is going to be an interesting one because it's
Matt's,
former Rams quarterback versus former Lions quarterback.
Yep, they did a 1-for-1 switcheroo there. Bucks and Bears. I have the Bucks.
Yes, sir.
Texans, Cardinals. You're going to go Cardinals. I also did. And then we have Colts and 49ers. I went with the Colts on this one.
I actually want to go Colts too.
This is probably the most up in the air one for this week, other than the Falcons and the Dolphins for me. This one I didn't know who to pick, just because the 49ers didn't play last week, and you still are missing Garoppolo. And then Saints and Seahawks. I have the Seahawks.
I'm going to go Saints.
Okay. I'm thinking, if I click on this, the Saints are 3-2. I'm thinking the Saints still have hype behind them because of an old quarterback still. I don't think they're that good anymore. I'll say it.
I agree, but Seahawks are still dealing with not their starter.
Yeah. I just think that out of everybody, Geno is probably the one I would want backing me up in the NFL.
Yep.
So, all right, those are our Week 7 predictions, and that is the episode for this week. Thank you guys again for watching or listening, and make sure you hit the subscribe button on YouTube and go and follow me on all my social medias, Instagram, Twitch, Twitter. Should be Nugget Hole or Nugget Hole 24 for everything. Same profile picture for everything, so go ahead and hit me up on those. We'll be back next week for some Week 7 action on the Huge Sack podcast, and have a good rest of your week, and we'll see you guys next week.